Yucca Color Guard just hit its peak, and these spectacular 5 to 6 foot flower spikes are doing something extraordinary. Hello, I'm David Wilson, and I'm out here in the test garden at Overdevest Nurseries looking at Yucca Color Guard, a variety that we've been growing now for many years, making available through our partnering garden centres with gorgeous evergreen striped foliage, a lovely spiky architectural habit, one that's as tough as your boot, hardy to zone 4, easy to grow and virtually indestructible, not normally bothered by the likes of deer and rabbits, and it's hummingbird friendly too. But today I want to show you something else that really is incredibly special. And that is that this variety of a native species, Yucca filamentosa, that grows from Pennsylvania across to Long Island, down through Maryland, right down the east coast to Florida and across to Louisiana, is pollinated exclusively by one insect. And that's a little insect called a yucca moth. A little small creamy white moth that's about the size, or maybe slightly smaller than the size of your thumbnail. And the amazing thing is that this is the only way that these yuccas can be pollinated. This night flying moth exclusively pollinates these yuccas. So this is the incredible thing for me, is how this flowering plant, which is really gorgeous with these beautiful, big, stately and very sturdy stems, as you see, puts on a dramatic show in the garden, but also provides this wonderful place for a natural native species to be able to perpetuate in both ways. What's interesting about them is that they emerge just when the yucca flowers are beginning to pop. The males fly up and hang up near the top of the flowers, waiting for the females to arrive. And then when they mate, the female goes into the flower. She gathers up the pollen from the flower and puts it in a little ball underneath her chin, flies off to another plant, another flower. When she enters the flowers at night, remember she's nocturnal, that's why we never really see them out in the gardens unless you look up into the flowers at night or first thing in the morning. Sometimes you'll see them up inside the flowers. Anyway, what she does is she flies in and then she takes that pollen and she deliberately, and this is very unusual in the insect world, she deliberately takes that pollen and places it on the stigma of the flower, the female part of the flower, thereby ensuring pollination. She then takes and drills a little hole at the base of the flower and deposits 3 to 5 eggs. When those eggs emerge and develop, the larvae feed on the pollinated seeds that are then developing inside each of the seed heads, and that then sustains it as a host plant. And so what's interesting is that the yucca plant depends on the yucca moth to do the pollination, and the moth depends on the yucca plant to feed its young. And what I think is absolutely incredible is that somehow she's able to sense whether she's the first visitor to that flower or not. Because if she senses that another female has beat her to the punch and laid its eggs in that flower, she will back out and go and find another flower, thereby ensuring that there's never overpopulation inside each of those seed heads. In other words, there's just enough larvae to feed on the seeds, but also leave some seeds so that then when they're dispersed, it perpetuates the yucca species. And that for me is one of the wonderful wonders of nature, that you have this natural mutual benefit of an insect with a plant. Add to that ourselves as gardeners, because what we're doing is obviously growing and enjoying these really beautiful plants that are tough and sturdy, absolutely gorgeous to look at, but also I think is fascinating and fabulous in that because we are now taking native varieties like this one, Color Guard, and planting it in our gardens in more northerly states. You remember I told you about that natural range from Pennsylvania to Long Island, down through Maryland to Florida and Louisiana? Well, now that we're taking and planting these in places like New England, upstate New York, and even into southern Canada, that means that there's yucca flowers for the moth to come and visit and live on them too. So we are helping to enlarge the native range of this wonderful wonder of nature. It's another, I think, fabulous way that we're able to enjoy the bounties of nature in our gardens for the benefit of the environment, for the benefit of us as human beings, so that we're able to enjoy all of what I call H&C, happiness and contentment in our gardens, in enjoying beautiful things like this. And contrary to what I've been telling you in most of the other videos that I've filmed here on this channel, this is one plant that you don't trim back after it finishes flowering. And if you've got yuccas like this in your garden, keep an eye out, because you're likely to see along the stem round green knobs appearing randomly up the stem. If that happens, it shows that the moth has been at work, pollination has taken place, and there's probably larvae developing inside those seed pods. So the next time you get a chance to go down and visit some of our partnering garden centres, be sure to take a look at our Yucca Color Guards. See if there's a place somewhere in your garden where you can plant and enjoy them, and have them then help improve our environment as well. This is David Wilson. Enjoy your gardening. It's good for us, and it's good for our environment too.